Today we're going to be solving multi-step equations. So I already did a video on one-step equations. In case you find these problems that we're going to do right now a little bit difficult, you can go to the other video and kind of refresh your memory with the one-step equations first before tackling these. Remember, the goal in these problems is to solve for x. We're trying to figure out the value of x. So in question number 1, solve each equation. 3x minus 12 equals 26. Before I can do anything with the 3 next to the x, I have to first isolate it, which means let's get rid of the negative 12. To get rid of the minus 12, I'm going to do plus 12 to both sides. Now, it's really important for you to keep your work organized. Try to keep everything aligned so that way you don't make a mistake. So now I bring down the 3x is equal to 26 plus 12 is equal to 38. When you divide by 3, 38 divided by 3, that's not going to divide evenly. So if you put it in your calculator, 38 divided by 3 is going to give you approximately 12.6 repeated. So you can either write it with the bar on top, or you can just leave it as 38 over 3, depending on which way your teacher wants you to leave your answers. In question number 2, x divided by 6 minus 3 equals 4. Again, we're trying to isolate the variable. So before we can do anything with the x over 6, let's go ahead and get rid of that negative 3. So we're going to do plus 3 to both sides. So when I do plus 3, it cancels it out, and I'm left with x over 6 is equal to 7. Now, x divided by 6 is equal to 7. What I have to do is multiply by 6 on both sides. So then I end up with x is equal to 42 because 7 times 6 is 42. And just like when we were doing one-step equations, you can always go back and substitute the value of x that you got and check to see if you have actually done this correctly. So in this case, if I were to substitute it back in, 42 divided by 6 minus 3, that should equal 4. 42 divided by 6 is 7, 7 minus 3 is 4, and the answer is correct. Let's try another one. In number 3, we have decimals. It doesn't matter, same process. We're going to try to isolate the 7.9x, and then that means let's get rid of the negative 5. So I'm going to go ahead and do plus 5 to both sides. That gives me 7.9x is equal to 15.8. Now I can divide both sides by 7.9. So if you take your calculator and you do 15.8 divided by 7.9, it's going to give you exactly 2. So the value of x is equal to 2. Question number 4 is a little bit different than the other ones that we've done so far, because now you notice that you have x's on both sides of the equation, and you also have numbers on both sides of the equation. Notice where the equal sign is. You cannot just combine like terms right now because of the equal sign, so you have to be very careful with that. Instead, you want to get all the x's together on one side and all the numbers together on the other side. Which side? It doesn't really matter, to be quite honest with you. A lot of times my students prefer to leave the x on the left-hand side, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Notice the 4x is positive, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Make sure you line everything up because that's going to keep your work neat and it's going to help you avoid making mistakes. So this cancels. I bring down 16. Negative 2x minus 4x is negative 6x is equal to negative 4. Now that I have the x's together on the left-hand side, I need to get rid of the 16 and put it on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. I get negative 6x is equal to negative 20. Now I can divide both sides by negative 6. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 20 over 6 can be simplified because both of them are divisible by 2. So if I divide by 2, then my answer is going to be 10/3. And 10/3 does not divide evenly. You can simplify this as basically 3.3 repeated, because if you were to take your calculator and you do 10 divided by 3, you're going to get 3.3 repeated. In question number 5, notice I have 10x on the left-hand side. There is no other number on that left-hand side. So sometimes my students will move the 10x to the right-hand side and be left with 0 on the left. You want to avoid that as much as possible. Instead, let's go ahead and subtract 3x from both sides of the equal sign. Here's the equal sign. So when I say from both sides, I mean from both sides of the equal sign. This cancels. 10x minus 3x is 7x is equal to -7. Now divide by 7. So when you divide, x is equal to -1. In number 6, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10x from both sides. That cancels it out on the right-hand side of the equal sign. 20x minus 10x is 10x minus 5 is equal to 5. Now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. 10x is equal to 10 divided by 10. X is equal to 1. And notice the entire time that I'm working with these, I want to make sure that I bring down the equal sign and I try to keep it lined up as much as possible, because again, that's going to help me avoid making a mistake. So let's look at question number 7. This one is a little bit different also, because I have 2x minus 4. All of it is divided by 3 is equal to -4. Normally in a problem like 2x minus 4 is equal to -4, the first thing I would tell you to do is to add the 4 to both sides. Now, however, the way that we see the problem here, everything is divided by 3, which means I am not going to touch the -4 right now, because in reality, that -4 is being divided by 3. So instead, because the entire problem is being divided by 3, we need to work backwards. And we are going to instead multiply the entire equation, so both sides, by 3. That is going to cancel out the 3's on the left-hand side, and now I'm left with 2x minus 4 is equal to -12. So you have to be very careful. Again, because everything is being divided by 3, the first thing you have to do is multiply by 3 on both sides. And now the rest is pretty simple. We are going to add 4 to both sides. So I get 2x is equal to -8. Divide by 2. And voila, x is equal to -4. Let's take a look at question number 8. In this case, notice we have parentheses. So I need to use the distributive property. I'm going to go ahead and distribute. I'm going to multiply. -5 times x gives me -5x. -5 times 2 gives me -10. Then -10 is equal to 4x. On the same side of the equal sign, I am allowed to combine like terms. So on the same side of the equal sign, I am allowed to combine like terms. So here, -10 and -10 are like terms. So I end up with -5x minus 20 is equal to 4x. Normally, we have been taking what's on the right-hand side, the x, and taking it to the left. But if I do that, I'm going to be left with 0 on the right-hand side. So instead, I'm going to add 5x to both sides. That's not a problem. So -20 is equal to 9x. You always divide by the number next to the variable. So here, I am going to divide both sides by 9. 20 does not divide by 9 evenly, so I'm just going to leave my answer as an improper fraction, and I'll just leave it as -20 over 9. If you do want to divide, you can. This is going to equal -2.2 repeated. We're getting a lot of these answers that have repeated decimals. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more help with math so that you can say, yes, I can do math with confidence. Until next time, thanks for watching.